Hello and welcome to Balderdash Academy. I'm your headmaster, Bob LeBlanc. Joining me tonight is our faculty professor of Home Ec and Wellness, Marie Stewart Harmon.
Hello, everybody.
Coach of the Balderdash Academy Dashers, Steve Corning.
Let's go Dashers.
Professor of English Language Arts, Molly McGill.
Top of the evening, everyone, or daytime, depending.
And our five-time reigning champion, Professor of STEAM, Nate Green.
Thank you, everybody. You've been wonderful. Have a great night.
That's
a shout.
Good night. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Our visiting professor today is Jack Meloche, actor, musician, and voiceover artist. You might recognize his voice from the audiobook Spider-Man: The Darkest Hour by Jim Butcher, Cuphead in Carnival Chaos by Ron Bates, Easy Prey by Catherine Lowe, and Night Drop by Marshall Thornton. Jack has agreed to be the scorekeeper tonight while our faculty members compete for the coveted reigning champion banner. They will do their best to compete in a series of comedy competitions. At the end of each, Jack will assign points to a competitor he feels is most worthy. He's not looking for the correct answer and will likely not get one. He's looking for the best answer.
Absolutely.
The points are arbitrary and can be given to anyone for any reason. At the end of the show, the faculty member with the highest point total will be named the reigning champion. Defending his title is five-time reigning champion Nate Green.
People's jam.
It is now time for a pop quiz. Our first pop quiz is from Professor Molly McGill of English Language Arts. Molly, what do you have for us?
Oh, hello, faculty. So lovely to see you again. Hello, visiting professor. Jack, so nice to have you with us. As we always do, we're going to kick this baby off with a word of the day. I'm going to give you a word, and our faculty are going to tell you what they think it means. I hope you've all studied this week. I'm looking at you all.
Yep.
Jack, when they're done, we're going to review, and you let me know whose answer you think is the best, or answers, by giving out some points. Are we ready?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Today's word is aunting. Today's word is aunting. Aunting.
How do you
Nate.
spell that?
Aunting.
Aunting. It's a disease after you ride a haunted hayride. And somebody's like, what the hell happened to you? And you can't get it out because you're so scared you have the hiccups. So you're like, aunting. So it went on for quite a long time, but they shortened it to 2 auntings.
Okay, Nate.
That's the shortened version.
Yes, very interesting answer. Bob.
Thanks.
So, aunting is, it's new to us, but it was very common in the ancient world. Aunting is what happens when you have 2 women who marry each other.
Oh.
What they become to their children or to their grandchildren or to their nieces and nephews is aunting.
Okay, Bob. Really interesting answer there as well. Steve, what do you got for me?
This is a brand new word. Came out 2019, published into the one of the dictionaries. Now, the word avuncular has existed in our vernacular for many years. Bob is already laughing at my answer. That's good. Avuncular is having the attributes of an uncle, and usually you're like good with kids, or you're funny, or you do magic tricks when nobody wants them. This is kind of the opposite. Women kind of felt like maybe they weren't being represented the same in the English language as uncles were. So they decided to create their own word for aunts, which means kind of the similar thing, aunting. There you go, Molly. That's your definition.
Wow. Hope you worked really hard on that one, Steve. Okay, Marie.
My connection fuzzed out as soon as he was giving his definition. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. You didn't miss much.
The best one yet.
That's Schrodinger's answer. It is both horrible and brilliant.
Oh,
Steve, you want to give a recap? Steve, what do you think?
Here's the quick one for you, Jack. It's the female, the aunt version of avuncular. You know the word avuncular, being like an uncle. It's the aunt version of that.
got it.
Okay,
Beautiful.
thanks for the recap, Steve. You could have just went with that in the first place, I think.
I know.
Anyways, Marie.
I'm actually surprised, Coach Steve, that you didn't know about it. It is a newer word. Aunting is the heckle that stadium people in stadiums watching a baseball game will heckle when someone is about to bunt. How it got to aunting is a long and convoluted story, but it's the heckle for when someone is preparing to bunt a baseball.
Okay, great. Okay, so Jack, just to recap here, we have Nate's haunted hiccup hayride. We have Bob's incestual aunts. We have Steve's favored aunt, jealous of the favored uncle. And we have Marie's short-handed hecklers for bunting. What are you feeling?
You know, at least at the time of year when this is being recorded, it's a beautiful day outside. I can definitely picture enjoying a nice baseball game were it not for, the obvious. But I can definitely picture in my mind's eyes as we've got the batter up, just being like, haunting. Yeah. So I'd say 50 points to Marie for that, and I'd say that's a solid answer.
That is
All right,
a well-deserved 50 points. However, faculty, if you haven't been studying once again, just to clarify, aunting does mean a lucky charm or good luck piece, something that I hope you all carry with you in what you do.
Oh.
So it could be a heckle.
I mean, it could be a good luck heckle.
Good luck.
Yeah. A good luck
A
heckle.
good luck heckle.
Yeah.
Got this bracelet made of bones. That's my aunting.
There you go.
Now,
So-
what kind of bones? They never told me in the Native American shop I went into, but
It's your
assume anything you want.
Hey.
There you go. All right, so before we move on to the next game, I'm going to spin an opening icebreaker question for Jack from the Balderdash randomizer.
Okay.
The spin will generate a random question that Jack will try to answer in 1 minute or less. These questions can be anything from work and play to random information or general trivia. The icebreaker question is about career. What's your favorite part of your job?
Oh. I would say probably my favorite part of my job is just when I get to just completely leave behind the hellscape that is our reality at the moment. Just being able to like literally just dive into other stories and be a whole array of different people and characters is just an absolute joy to me, especially when I'm given the instructions to quote unquote go nuts. It's joy, absolute joy.
All right, 35 seconds. Excellent answer.
Did you yield the rest of your time, Jack?
He yields the rest of his time to you, Steve. So, our first game is called 4 Questions in honor of Jack's work with Jim Butcher's Spider-Man: The Darkest Hours. Tonight's 4 questions will be about everybody's favorite neighborhood web slinger, Spider-Man. Whichever one of our faculty members gives the best, not necessarily the correct, but the best answer, Jack will award points. Our first question. Stan Lee originally got the idea for the teenage web slinger by watching what? Steve, what do you have?
He was watching his nephew try and climb the side of a skyscraper. And it went very, very poorly, as you can imagine. And he said, what if my nephew had the powers of a spider and could actually scale the side of a skyscraper?
Was he in a harness or did he just freestyle it up?
You know, I don't want to spoil the ending, but you can imagine in your own mind what happened to Stan Lee's nephew.
It is horrifying. Marie, what's your answer?
Stanley was actually at his vacation home on a lake. He was waking up from a nap in his canoe, and he opened his eyes, and along the dock was a large spider web. And he saw the spider moving faster than his eyes could accept the movement. And suddenly the spider had disappeared. And then suddenly it was on his forehead. And so he realized that there is some potential here for some superhuman capabilities. And that was how he got the inspiration. Spider on the dock.
Great answer. So from a large spider web and ninja spider.
Mm-hmm.
Molly, what's your answer?
He got the idea from watching his wife kill a spider while yelling at their teenage son. And he thought, why not just let the spider live? Why does your anger have to be expelled upon this poor, helpless spider? If only my teenage son and this spider both had the powers to conquer her evil, we would have... Wait a minute. Oh, whoa. And there's it. That's how it went.
All right. So watching his wife kill a spider while yelling at their teenage son. Nate, what do you have?
Well, this happened. Stan Lee was living in New York City, working there, doing, a lot of stuff there. And he witnessed a young kid help an older, I don't know if it was a woman or a man, but it was an elderly person cross the street. And he's like, see, not all heroes have to be adults. They can be kids. And you should be inspired to start doing good as soon as you can. So that's how he got the kid for the teenage part. Now, the spider, he was listening to No Doubt Spiderweb, Spider, the No Doubt song on his AirPods. So that's how the Spider-Man came to be.
That was right after Stan the Man discovered time travel.
Yes. Yeah, he went to Stephen Hawking's party. He was the only one that was there.
He's a watcher,
that makes
so
sense.
He does kind of jump around a little bit.
He does. So we have Steve with his nephew tried to climb the side of a skyscraper. We have Marie, with a large spider web and a ninja spider.
Yes.
We have Molly he was watching his wife kill a spider while yelling at a teenage son. And we have Nate. He watched a kid help the elderly across the street and listened to No Doubt's Spiderweb. All answers. The actual answer was he was inspired by watching a fly climb up a wall in his Marvel office.
So why did the fly have a Marvel office?
The fly had a Marvel office because at that point in time, most comics were entirely made of So it's okay. Alan has my back.
I'm not sure he does that time.
So, Jack, how would you like to score?
Well, all very good answers. I will say I really liked Molly's passion and the passion for the natural, for not wanting to hurt that spider, and the caring for the spider, because the spider has a life too. 30 points for that. However, I think the best answer in my mind's eye was Steve's story about Stan watching his poor nephew climb I don't know if it was the Chrysler building or which skyscraper it was. But I can absolutely picture Stan Lee just imagining, like, if only my nephew had those super sticky hands, or if he could swing, and he would still be alive today. So 50 points to Steve for that.
Yes, let's
50.
go.
Our next question. So, Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, who was the artist on the first Spider-Man, brought the idea to Martin Goldman. Martin Goldman at the time was the head of Marvel, and he responded, "That is the worst idea I've ever heard. People hate spiders, and teenagers are not good for anything but a sidekick." So their boss hated the idea. Stan Lee and Steve Ditko did what? Marie, what do you have?
They just did it anyway. They rogue hired their own film crew and just took to the streets of New York City and just drawing team. I know comics. Yeah, they just did it anyway. They said, Marvel head man, we don't give a damn, and we're doing it anyway.
So they did it anyway and hired a rogue drawing crew. Yeah.
Yes.
Molly, what do you have?
Well, they were pretty PO'd, right? Like, they worked hard on this. It was a great idea. They had a killer pitch. So what they decided to do was prank their boss and then book 2 tickets to Marblehead, where they vacationed after. They wrapped his entire desk in cellophane. They hot glued his stapler to the desk. They went classic old school because, this is old school times. They also put super glue all over his seat. They put his pen there, his favorite pen that he used, just adhered it. And then they're like, going to Marblehead.
So they pranked their boss and bought 2 tickets to Marblehead. Nate, what's your answer?
Oh, they were crushed. They took the subway in, so they took the subway back home and then sat in their car listening to All by Myself, crying. And after 2 days of that, they got together and they figured that they were going to start their own comic company. While they were doing it, they just played the song I Didn't Start the Fire. And there was a music montage. All of a sudden, 6 months go by and Spider-Man gets released. And Kermit was there.
Kermit?
Because Kermit's always there.
Yeah, I mean, if there's
That
a
makes
music
sense.
montage, he kind of shows up. I don't know.
The frog?
With his
That
banjo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve, what's your answer?
So what they did is they kind of took to heart the part where he said, teenage boys can really only be sidekicks. And they said, we got to kind of reinvent this character. We want the spider powers, but it can't be a teenage boy anymore. What if we do a full-grown man? So they decided to go as Spider-Man. And what the idea they pitched was this was like a dad of 3 living in a 2-bedroom apartment, kind of overweight, still smokes, may have gone to a porn theater after work, just kind of a piece of guy. He's not being able to take care of himself. And this was kind of their alternate to the original Spider-Man vision. And they pitched this idea, and the execs hated it so much that they decided to go with the original.
Oh.
We have Marie with Did It Anyway. We have Molly with Pranked Their Boss and bought 2 tickets to Marblehead. We have Nate with Listened to All by Myself while crying and started their own comic book company. And we have Steve with Reinvent the Character into a full-grown man, Spider Dad. So there you go, Spider Dad.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
In reality, Marie nailed it right on the head. They ignored their boss and did it anyway. They snuck Spider-Man into the final issue of Amazing Fantasy, which had been canceled. And the fans loved it so much, they demanded more, and Goodman greenlit the title. The rest is history.
When did they get the film crew?
Sweet.
The film crew? They bought him immediately and put him in the closet. And that's when the great, body dump of 1974 happened, when they're like, what's that smell? The film crew.
Yeah.
It was a dark time for Marvel.
They dumped him in Marblehead.
Yeah, Marblehead. How would you like to score that?
Oh, yes. Well, a lot of really interesting answers that round. I will say I'm giving 10 points to Nate off the bat just for Kermit. Just because Kermit always is always a plus to give pretty much
Quality
any situation.
Always adds value.
Love that guy. Love that guy.
Yeah.
I'm giving 20 points to Marie because a little rebellion every now and then is always a good thing. Every now and then you gotta shake things up a little bit. Steve, I'm taking away 10 points because good God.
Is that not the mental image you wanted of Spider-Man?
Not especially, man.
No? Okay.
I mean, I think I would have stomached most of it, but then you had to drag the porn theater into it, and I couldn't anymore.
He had to make it so realistic.
For shame.
After Spider-Man
For
3,
shame.
Sony was getting desperate. Our next question.
Well, have we ever
Spider-Man-
Sorry to interrupt you, Bob. Have we ever had anyone lose points?
Yes, me one time. I lost a point.
Yes.
And
Yep.
it was totally due to me correct. I should not. Yeah, it was correct. I should have lost points.
That's a classic one.
Yeah.
Molly lost points not only during a round, but before the show even started.
Yep.
Tuck
Really overachieving over here.
Tuck
Yeah.
took points away from me because I questioned him.
Yeah. So basically, the answer is all the frickin' time. Our next question. So Spider-Man has had a number of team-ups over the decades. He's teamed up with the original not ready for primetime players, Superman and Batman, both from DC Comics, the Transformers, and in Amazing Spider-Man number 583, he teams up with who? Molly, what's your answer?
He teamed up with the Toxic Avenger. See, they had a really tight-knit bond because they both suffered so much from radiation. Suffered, but yet were gifted by it at the same time. So they shared this kinship that was just, it was like brotherhood, you know? And it was just golden from there.
All right, Molly with a trauma experience. Nate, what do you have?
Well, there was an electrical storm in space, and what happened is Spider-Man and Fozzie the Bear were magically transported. I got points for Kermit, so I'm going with Fozzie.
I see what you're doing there.
Yeah. They were both transported to the world of the ambiguously gay duo, where they then had to fight crime and question some things,
I would definitely watch that.
especially with Fozzie.
Yeah.
All right, so a trip through space with Fozzie the Bear. Steve, what's your answer?
So this is kind of this is a crossover not very many people saw. It was part of a large marketing campaign. Conagra brands, wanted to do something new with their products. So what they called up Marvel and they said, look, the Chef Boyardee brand is dead. Nobody's buying Chef Boyardee anymore. What can we do? And Stan says, you know what, I'll put him in the next comic. And what ended up happening was the Chef Boyardee came to life in The Amazing Spider-Man, and they teamed up and they fought the Green Goblin. And he refused to eat a can of SpaghettiOs, a can of ravioli. And so they obviously had to kill him, and that was the first death of the Green Goblin.
All right.
There's been several deaths of the Green Goblin. So
And it happened at a porn theater.
Kermit the Frog was there.
Yeah.
While listening to All By Myself.
Yes.
All right, so we have Steve pandering with Chef Boyardee. Marie, what's your answer?
So it came from a thing we see in our everyday lives. Cats are always chasing little teeny spiders that they see along the house. They are wonderful at catching those little pests around. So they were like, let's draw from real life. So it actually was Catwoman in Spider-Man, and it started out very tumultuous. They had their own quarrels they had to get over. Spider-Man had to prove to Catwoman that he should not be eaten by her, or defeated by her in any way, shape, or form. So they had some good conversation, and then they teamed up. Spider-Man and Catwoman are just taking on the world together.
All right, so it's a good answer. Catwoman.
Yeah.
So, Jack, we
Yeah.
have Molly with the Toxic Avenger, Nate with Fozzie the Bear, we have Steve with Chef Boyardee, and Marie with Catwoman. The actual answer was President Barack Obama.
What?
I'm sorry?
I'm unaware of this.
During his inauguration in this comic, another Obama showed up. So Spider-Man teamed up with the president to defeat the other Obama, who turned out to be the chameleon.
That is
So,
wild. I love it.
How would you
Very
like to
cool.
score?
Wow. Wow. Well, I would like to let's see. Sorry, this is just so many directions this could go. But I do appreciate the not so subtle pandering from Nate in terms of Fozzie Bear and the questionable sexuality of that duo. So I'll give him another 10 points for that. I also I'm in love with the idea of Catwoman and Spider-Man. So I would that's just such I'm already picturing the banter and the dynamic, the really wild dynamic that duo would have.
And seriously, why should Batman get all the fun?
Exactly. I'm going to declare that one the winner, so that's I'm going to say that's probably another 20 points for Marie.
Sweet. Thank you.
All right. Our last question in 4 questions. Due to a 3-year licensing deal, Spider-Man was brought to Japan for a series loosely based off the Marvel comic character. In this version, Spider-Man has what? Nate, what's your answer?
An epic battle with Hello Kitty and karaoke, with the ultimate judges being Waldorf and Statler.
You had it right the first time, Nate.
Statler. I love them, but I can never remember their names.
It's Stalin, right? Something with a ST.
No, but what's funny is Stalin literally named himself, translated into the Man of Steel. You want to talk about comics?
Oh, there we go. Nice connection.
Yeah, right?
We don't even need Alan.
No, don't let him hear that.
I've been hanging out with Alan too much.
Yeah.
I'm
He's
doing
gonna
his
be
job for him.
He's going to be in a car listening to All By Myself soon.
Oh, no.
So, you want me to repeat the question? Because I just missed that. It was Statler and Waldorf.
Epic battle with Hello Kitty and judged by Waldorf and Statler. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the superheroes throughout history have been kind of made fun of for their various costumes over time, and a lot of people think that looks like Superman, the traditional drawings, is wearing his underwear over his pants, basically, and a lot of people have poked fun at that for years. When Spider-Man came to Japan, they decided to give him a diaper because they were a little bit confused about the Superman wearing his underwear over his pants, and they thought it was a diaper. And before the mistake was realized, they had already shown it to test audiences, and it actually tested really well because of the cuteness factor. But it did grow a little old watching a grown man run around in a diaper, punching the Green Goblin to death. So
they gave him a diaper. So the question was, did the Japanese audience like it? Depends.
All right.
I'm sorry. Marie, what do you have?
Way to ensure that joke got through.
As we know, Pokemon Go has blown up all over the world. It is everywhere. It is here in Maine. It is in Japan. It is everywhere. So, to help promote the upcoming publicity for Spider-Man in Japan, they decided to create a Pokemon Go Spider-Man that showed up at select, I think they're called gyms in Pokemon Go, where I think that's what they're called, and to help promote the upcoming all the publicity that Spider-Man needed. So it was like rogue guerrilla marketing by subliminally having to fight Spider-Man in your Pokemon gym in Japan.
All right, in 1978. That's fantastic.
Yes,
Molly, what's your answer?
They gave Spider-Man an extra superpower. Someone called it an addiction, but they really played it out as a superpower. He was killer at karaoke. and get him up on the stage, get him in a booth, get him against Green Goblin. They had an epic karaoke battle, which went down in Japanese and global history. It was popular all over the world. His go-to song, of course, was All By Myself. In a Kermit accent. And he just nailed it. Nailed it.
All right.
Well,
That
can I
makes
ask
a lot of
follow-up
sense.
question before we move on?
Yeah, what is it?
It's actually for Marie. I'm sorry, I meant to ask this sooner, but we moved. If there was a Pokemon Spider-Man crossover, would it be Pokemon or would it be Spider-Mon?
Spidey-Mon, I think.
Okay. But just
Makes
want to clear
sense.
that up because a lot of people would be thinking
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Well, it
clearing
makes
that
sense
up.
because that would
Spidey-Mon-
be
Yeah.
Spider Monster. So yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we have Nate had an epic battle with Hello Kitty, judged by Statler and Waldorf. Spider-Man was there. Steve gave him a diaper. Marie, Pokemon to go with Spider-Man, and Molly had an addictive superpower. He was killer at karaoke. The actual answer was a giant robot called Leopardon. So he got his powers by a spaceship called the Marveler from Planet Spider that transformed into the giant robot. Because of course he did.
You realize the
Jack
second half of that robot's name is Hard-On?
Yeah, welcome to the 70s. Jack, how would you like to score?
Wow. Amazing answers all around, but I have to give it to Molly with the Spider-Man karaoke battle, singing it all by myself with Kermit. Like, oh my! It's off the wall, but I could see it and picture it, and my God, it is glorious. So 60 points. 60 points for Molly.
Feels like a deleted scene from Spider-Man 3. He's like, he's so depressed, he just goes into a karaoke bar. Honestly, Sam Raimi probably shot that scene, let's be honest.
Was that before or after Venom infected him?
Well, you'd get a very different scene either way you went, so...
Yeah.
That's true.
Venom busts in all drunk from talking.
Just having a
So,
karaoke duet.
our points. Right now, in last place, we have Nate with 20 points.
Oh, Nate in last place? Good
Wow,
lord!
that's different.
We need
We
to get
have
Jack on here
Steve.
more often.
We have Steve with 40.
Well, yeah.
And in a two-way tie, we have Marie and Molly, each with 90 points.
Wow.
Whoa!
Wow.
Well done. So join us for a chat with actor, musician, and voiceover artist Jack Meloche when we return to Balderdash Academy. Go Dashers!
Go Dashers!
For complete episodes and more, visit us at balderdashacademy.com.
Why would a voice actor want to use a fake name for an audiobook? How many different character voices can one man have running through his head at once? What's Plunderphonics and who's this Jocka fella? Well, you'll get answers to all these and more in part 2 of this week's episode with Jack Meloche. Catch it only on Balderdash Academy.
Thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. You can find us on your favorite podcast service as Balderdash Academy.
Go Dashers!